At dawn on April 27, 2022, inside Changi Prison in Singapore, a 34-year-old man is led toward a room he has waited 12 years to see. His name is Nagaenthran Dharmalingam. His lawyers say his IQ is 69, a level doctors recognize as an intellectual disability. He is about to be hanged. His crime: carrying 42 grams of heroin across a border, about 3 tablespoons. To understand how 3 tablespoons can end a life in one of the cleanest, safest cities on Earth, you need to see a system built around a single number, a number that decides who lives and who hangs, before any trial begins. Singapore is a tiny island city-state, smaller than New York City. In one lifetime, it transformed from a poor port into one of the wealthiest, most orderly places on the planet. The streets are famously clean. Vandalism can bring a caning. Tourists call it the safest big city they have ever walked through at night. And underneath that order runs one of the harshest drug regimes in the world. Singapore sits in a very small club of countries that still execute people for drugs, alongside Iran, Saudi Arabia, and North Korea. For a stable, prosperous democracy, that company is striking. Here is how the machine works. Under Singapore's drug laws, the punishment is tied not to what you did, but to how much you carried. For heroin, the line is 15 grams, about 3 tablespoons. Carry 1 gram under it, and a judge can spare you. Carry 1 gram over, and for most of the law's history, death was automatic. 15 grams is less than the weight of 3 sugar cubes. It fits in a closed fist. In most countries, that amount means a few years in prison. In Singapore, it is the exact weight at which the state can take your life. And it goes further. The law contains a presumption. Carry more than the threshold, and the law presumes you are a trafficker, and it becomes your job to prove you are not. In most justice systems, the state must prove you guilty. Here, past a certain weight, you must prove yourself innocent. So hold both pictures in your mind: a gleaming, admired city, and a machine that can decide your death by weighing a bag. How can both be true at once? Nagaenthran is about to find out. Nagaenthran was born in 1988 in Ipoh, a town in Malaysia just across the border. He grew up poor. He was a slow learner, and years later a court would hear his IQ was assessed at 69. In 2009, he was 21, out of work, and in debt. Therefore, he was exactly the kind of person drug syndicates look for. According to his statements, a man pressured him into carrying a package into Singapore and threatened to kill his girlfriend and family if he refused. He was not a kingpin moving a fortune. He was a mule, the lowest, most replaceable link in the chain. But the law about to swallow him did not measure fear or rank. It measured grams. On April 22, 2009, he reached the Woodlands checkpoint with a bundle strapped to his thigh. Inside was 42.72 grams of heroin, almost 3 times the line. Officers stopped him. They found it. And in that instant, the machine closed around him. He was over the weight. Therefore, he was presumed a trafficker. Therefore, he faced a mandatory death sentence. Nagaenthran confessed immediately, but said he had been coerced, forced to carry it by a man he was terrified of. His defense leaned on 2 things: the coercion and his mind. They pointed to the IQ of 69. But the court ruled he had understood what he was doing when he did it. And in 2010, Nagaenthran was sentenced to death. He was 22 years old. He would spend the next 12 years on death row, while his lawyers searched for the one exit that had nothing to do with grams. An exit controlled entirely by the people prosecuting him. That exit is a single piece of paper. In 2012, Singapore softened its mandatory death penalty, slightly. A convicted courier could be spared the rope and given life instead, but only if 2 conditions were met. First, they had to be proven a mere courier and receive a certificate of substantive assistance, a paper saying they helped authorities disrupt drug trafficking. Here is the catch: only the prosecution can issue it, not the judge. The same side trying to convict you holds the only key. Think about how that traps the most powerless. To earn the certificate, you must give up valuable information about the syndicate above you. But a low-level mule, handed a bundle by a stranger, often knows nothing. He cannot name the bosses because he never met them. The big traffickers, with names and networks to trade, are sometimes better placed to earn it than the desperate boy who carried one bag. The system can spare those who know the most and hang those who know the least. The second exit was for mental impairment, and this is the door Nagaenthran's lawyers fought to open, pointing to his IQ of 69. In many countries, executing a person with an intellectual disability is considered a clear violation of human rights. But Singapore's courts took a narrower view. Nagaenthran was not alone. Around 50 people sat on Singapore's death row, the overwhelming majority for drugs, not murder. Most of them low-level figures from poor and minority communities. And to see how absolute the system's logic could be, you need to look at one man, given the rope even after a court agreed he was only a courier. His name was Mohammed Shala Abdul Latif, a delivery driver. In 2016, he was caught carrying about 54 grams of heroin. He said he believed he was delivering contraband for a friend and never checked the bag. Here's the part that should stop you. The High Court actually found he was merely a courier, exactly the category the 2012 reform was meant to protect. He met the first condition, but he was still hanged in 2018. Why? Because prosecutors did not issue him the certificate. He had cleared the hurdle a judge could see, and it did not matter because the real decision was made elsewhere by the side trying to execute him. Sit with what that reveals. A court can look at a man, agree he was just a carrier, and still be powerless to save him. The robes, the bench, the appeals, in these drug trials, they are partly theater. The verdict that matters most is reached the moment the drugs are weighed and the prosecution declines to sign. And the same machine now closed around Nagaenthran. His lawyers brought his IQ of 69 and international experts, but Singapore's courts, citing psychiatrists who said he understood his actions, ruled he did not meet the test for impairment. They called one final challenge an abuse of process and said international law did not apply. The coercion defense, rejected. The courier exit, no certificate. The impairment door, shut. Every path led back to the same place. The weight on the scale had decided his fate in 2009. Everything since was just the system confirming it. His mother flew in for a final challenge. The world began to watch, and a date was set for dawn. Now the clock starts. In Singapore, an execution is scheduled with cold precision. The hanging happens at dawn at Changi Prison, and as Nagaenthran's date approached, the quiet machine became loud, because the world was watching. A man with an IQ of 69, condemned for 3 tablespoons of heroin he said he was forced to carry. The pleas poured in. United Nations experts called for Singapore to stop. The Malaysian Prime Minister appealed. Even the British billionaire Richard Branson urged Singapore to spare him. Candlelight vigils burned outside the High Commission in Kuala Lumpur and at Speaker's Corner in Singapore itself. Singapore did not move. Its position had been the same for decades. The death penalty is a deterrent, and it is what keeps this tiny, dense city almost free of the drug epidemics that devastated other nations. The rules, they say, are posted in plain sight at every checkpoint. And crucially, most Singaporeans support it. This is not a punishment forced on an unwilling public. It is one the public has chosen. Some call that responsible governance. Others call it state killing dressed in order. But the clock kept ticking. An earlier date in late 2021 had been paused when Nagaenthran caught COVID. His lawyers filed challenge after challenge. His mother filed her own. Each was heard. Each was dismissed. The final ruling came, and the date stood. April 27, 2022. Dawn. His family was told to prepare to carry his body home to Ipoh, across the same border he had crossed 13 years earlier with a bundle taped to his leg. April 27, 2022. Before dawn, Changi Prison. Nagaenthran is 34 now. He has been on this row for 12 years. The legal doors are all closed. The vigils outside cannot reach him. In Singapore, drug executions are carried out by hanging at first light. The procedure is private. No cameras, no public. Just the prison, the rope, and the dawn. The same quiet order that runs the country runs its gallows. He is led from his cell, And then it is done. His brother is told the execution is complete. The family waits to collect his body. His sister speaks for them, her words sharp with grief. "On this," she says, "Malaysia is far more humane. 0 marks to Singapore. Now remember the number, 15 grams, the line." Nagaenthran crossed it by 27 grams, about 2 extra tablespoons, and that weight, measured at a checkpoint in 2009, had decided everything. Not his IQ of 69, not his account of being threatened into carrying the bundle, not the UN, the Prime Minister, the billionaire, the vigils. The scale had ruled in 2009. The dawn of April 2022 only carried out what the scale had already written. Human rights groups called him the victim of a tragic miscarriage of justice. Singapore's government said he was accorded full due process, and the law had been clear at the border all along. Both are true at once. He did receive every legal step, and the system was built so those steps could only ever lead to one place. For a man over the weight, with no certificate and no accepted impairment. A spotless, admired country had weighed 3 tablespoons against a human life. And the tablespoons won. Nagaenthran's body went home to Ipoh, to the family that fought for him to the last morning. His execution did not end the system, it accelerated it. Singapore resumed hangings in 2022, and the pace picked up. A delivery driver, a 45-year-old woman, the first woman hanged there in nearly 2 decades. 3 men in a single 2-week stretch. Around 50 people remained on death row, almost all for drugs. Let's close the threads. The 15-gram line still stands. Cross it, and the law still presumes you a trafficker. The certificate, the paper only prosecutors can grant, still decides who among the couriers lives, which is why a man a court called a mere carrier could still hang. And the impairment door stayed shut for Nagaenthran to the end. So judge it for yourself. Singapore is, by almost every measure, one of the safest societies on earth, and its government insists, backed by most of its people, that this is exactly why the harsh laws must stay. Others look at a man with the mind of a child, hanged for 3 tablespoons he said he was forced to carry, and call it the cruelty the cleanliness was hiding. The horror, if you see horror here, does not come from chaos. It comes from order, from a system so precise it can decide a death by weighing a bag. That was the answer to the question we opened with. How can 3 tablespoons end a life in one of the world's most admired cities? Because the system was never designed to ask who you are. It was designed to read a scale. And in Singapore, the grams decide. But Singapore at least posts its rules at the border in plain sight. In Saudi Arabia, the line you must not cross is far less clear, and the execution can happen in a public square, with the crowd told only to step back. That story is next.